Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Presented by Carolina Lightweights. Come get with us. When the action begins in the studio, our referees for tonight's event are Elgato Azul and Carolina Real Streamers. For the viewers in attendance and Facebook and YouTube users around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Live from the Elgato Azul TV studio in Louisville, Texas, it's time! What's up, slime lovers? Welcome to the Slime Show, baby.
What's up? What's up, everybody? What's up, brother?
We got our 1 year anniversary. It's hard to believe, man. We've been doing this a year.
Man, I tell you what, it's going by fast, man. And I tell you, we've had so many great episodes, man. So many great shows.
Man, we've had a ton of awesome guests. I should have got a list of all the guys we've had on. It's been a crazy year.
That would be a long list of great anglers, man. Great people.
I imagine we'll have some of these guys in here tonight. I want to get Tommy on with JT Catfish Kid. We're going to try to get him on soon. We've got Micah Burkhart. He's in the house. We've had him on. He's been on a couple of times. Those were good shows. Ben and Tips, we need to get you on, buddy. That's one of our Carolina Lightweights teammates. Welcome in. We got Gas Money. He's been on an Operation Vets with Nets trip with me. Got him and his father-in-law, a couple of PBs up at Mighty Lake, Texoma.
Oh,
welcome in, bro. We got Bruce Journey. Welcome in, Bruce. We got Creole Catfishing. What's up, Jeremy? How you doing, buddy?
What's up, buddy?
We got Alex Texas Fishing. Welcome in, Alex. How you doing, man? We got Wabash Nate. Welcome in, Nate. We got Corey Whaley. Welcome in, Corey. We got 4-Digit Fishing. It says, congrats on 50 episodes. Appreciate you, buddy. And Jonathan Coley and Kevin Walters. Welcome in, Kevin.
What's up, everybody?
It's been a heck of a year. Appreciate you guys that have been tuning in and being part of the family. It's been fun.
I tell you what, man, there's been a lot of talk about a lot of good subjects on the show, Chris. We've heard a lot of good feedback, man, a lot of knowledge, people telling us they've learned a lot with all of the guests we've had from all the stuff we've talked about. Man, that's an honor to hear, man.
Yeah, I get a lot of good feedback from guys saying that they're using the stuff that the guys are teaching them on the show. They're having their best years of fishing ever from learning, from watching the show. So that's really why we started doing it. We wanted to help our fellow anglers. We wanted to help our teammates. We wanted to help our partners try to get recognition and grow. So it's cool to see us all kind of growing together. It's been a fun ride.
It is, man. We wanted to do this thing a little bit different. I think we've really accomplished what we wanted to do, man. That's what we wanted to do, was bring on some good anglers and talk about some catfishing, talk about graphics, and we've done all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, it's been a crazy ride for Carolina Lightweights. I'm glad to be part of it. So it's cool to be able to showcase our guys and all the products every week on the show too. So
yeah, it really is, man. And I can tell you, we're just beginning. We got some cool things that's in the works for Carolina Lightweights. We're just probably just really getting started good. I mean, we've said that a few times, but we've got we got a revamp going on. We're redoing a lot of our decals, a lot of our bags. We got a lot that we're working hard on each and every day. And it's going to be a fun ride from here on out, I promise you.
Yeah.
One thing I want to get out of the way before we get going on the show is that we're just going to keep the show light and fun tonight. We may ask some of our guys to come up, but I've seen a lot of stuff this week about pay lakes, and it's pissed off a lot of guys, and it's got everybody up in an uproar, and even people that are both on the same side are arguing. And I just want to tell guys, if you really want to make a change, there is a way that you can get your voice heard. And the best way to do it is to contact your state representatives. Write them a letter. You can go online. You can type in who's the state representative for my area. They usually will have an area or a zip code, area code. No, yes, zip code. You type in zip code or your street address, and it'll tell you who your representative for your area is. You can write a letter. If you don't know what to write, you can find templates online to write these people, and you just express to what your concerns are. If you want something changed, that's pretty much the only way to do it. Now, guys I've heard a lot of guys say we got to get the companies on board, but in reality, that's only going to raise awareness. The companies, they say, oh, it's all about the money. Well, the companies, yes, it is about the money. But to get something changed, legislators have to have a bill presented to the state legislature. They vote on the bill. They decide whether they want to pass it or not. To get the bill on the table, you got to have somebody who presents the bill. So, large corporations pay money to lobbyists, and they get bills presented. They go through lobby groups. They have committees that draft the bill for the legislators, and then just hand them the bill, and they decide whether it's going to be something worth voting on or not. So we don't have that kind of money. Catfishing industry is still a mom and pop deal. So the best way to do it is by each one of you guys. Jamie, you got a concern, write your local legislature. Chris, I write mine every year. We don't have pay lakes. We outlawed them 40 years ago, but we have jugs and stuff like that. And I write them about, my concerns with that. So, I just wanted to relay that to you guys. You do have a voice, but I can promise you the legislators aren't on Facebook looking at a catfishing group. They're not looking at a catfisherman saying, oh, this guy's upset about pay lakes. So if you really want to be heard, that is the route to go. So,
and I tell you, man, that's breaking news today. It's all over the place. We've seen and we've read. It's all over, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere. But Chris is right, guys. We've got to start at the top. Just go ahead and go to the top. Write them, email them, get their names, make calls, constantly knocking down the doors to get these pay lakes stopped. And, that's where you got to go. You got to go to start with these guys that they're the voice for you.
That's why we elected them. And
that's it.
States, they vote on these laws. They have each, for instance, the state of Texas, our legislators, our representatives that are supposed to represent our district, which is in Texas, our districts are something like 165,000 people. So that person represents us 165,000 people. If enough of us write and voice our concern about whatever, subject we're wanting to get changed, they're going to take notice, and that's how change is going to be made.
As much posted as I've seen today as each and every one that has posted today has write their congressman, has sent emails, done phone calls. I can promise you their eyebrows are rising up right now, wondering what the hell is going on. So, guys,
I can appreciate everybody's passion and wanting to get the word out there. But if you really want to make a change, it goes way beyond reposting a Facebook post. You got to write your local legislator, person who's representing you and your voice within your state. And then there's other avenues as well. There's the fish and game department. So, for instance, Texas has Texas Parks and Wildlife. They have a committee that decides on what game laws need to be changed. So each state, it's a little bit different. Some people have a DNR, some people have a wildlife management. We have the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. So contacting that organization, most of them on their website has a link to file either a formal complaint where they have to basically listen to your complaint and somebody has to give you a response, or you can make suggestions on upcoming laws that you'd like changed for the next season. So,
even with the biologists and all them out there, Chris, our local DNR here, I have talked with them. I've talked with them about, the trout, the set hooks. I've talked with them about our trout lines, how dangerous they are, how many fish that they wipe out. Now that here in South Carolina, we do have a size limit now on catfishing, which is excellent. But there's a lot more that we can even do to continue even that. But, get out there, talk with them, guys. I can promise you the biologists will jump on a boat with you and go with you and show and talk about certain things. I can promise you that. We've done it here before in South Carolina. It's something that can be done. And if we all, like Chris said, and if we all put our voices together, it will get done.
So here's something that I'm seeing very common with all these threads and posts is people are already aware and they've generally chosen a side. Some people like to turn a blind eye and say, oh, it's for, old people and people and little kids that can't get out on the water. It's great for them. But I believe a lot of those guys, they can't go out on a boat and fish. So they go there. So they don't really care that these places are robbing all you guys right here in chat. They're robbing all your fish. They don't care. It's not their fish. They're taking your fish and now they're their fish. That's why it's the problem. And man, change is to write your local legislators or your wildlife departments. So,
and all the pictures and everything I have seen today, guys, if you'll take those pictures, email it to these guys. Email the hell out of them. And I can promise you, sooner or later, if we all speak up, things will start happening. Send them all these pictures. Show them about these pay lakes. Just preach it to them. Get on their nerves. That's what you got to do sometimes with these guys up there in our government. You've got to basically just hound them.
You got to take action, back and saying it's somebody else's responsibility. Oh, these companies need to get on board. Well, how about you get on board? You try to make a difference yourself. And if there's enough people that do that, it'll get changed very rapidly. The problem is, out of all the 1,000 people I saw complaining about it today, not a one actually got through to somebody that's in charge of changing the laws. It's just like going out in a field and everybody complaining. What's it good's it going to do? Nobody's out there to help make a change. So get in contact with the people that are in charge of making changes or have, the authority to do that. And what I will say, guys, if you're posting, add to your post, go ahead and add the phone number, the contacts of your people, your government agencies. Add those phone numbers so people can make them calls. Add those emails so they know who to email. So please add that to all your posts. That way, get the information out there. Let everybody know who they can contact. That's important. Yeah, just judging from a lot of the people that I talked to today, they had no idea that even how laws get changed. They think that signing this petition is somehow, if enough people sign it, the law gets changed. That is not how it works. The petition is there to bring awareness to maybe to whatever you're trying to bring awareness to, and then hopefully you can recruit people to your cause through the petition who are proactive and going to go do something. The actual petition, there's very little that's actually done with the results of the petition. It's just to generate more activity towards your cause. So if you want outlawed, write your local legislators, guys. You'll be surprised. Enough guys do it. It happens pretty quick. Laws get changed quickly.
Yeah, once these guys know that you know who they are, they can help you get the law changed. I can promise you, they will start making the wheels roll and trying to see about getting stuff like this taken care of.
We talked about it last week. It's a money because it's a money grab, and in the grand scheme of things, they're losing money by raping the resource, because there's way more guys that spend money on licenses, on that go out and buy boats, graphs, electronics, gas to put in the boat, hotel, when they drive out of town to go fish. All that is a giant amount of money that's way more generated than some pay lake. So in reality, places like Texas outlawed them 40 years ago because we have more anglers in the state of Texas than any other state. They realized we better cater to our anglers, and so that they're taken care of if we want the money to flow, and it's worked here. So nowhere's perfect, but hopefully we'll just continue to try to be getting better.
Yeah, we kind of knew we've been seeing more and more, and this is a subject we knew kind of it was coming, and it's good that it's here. I mean, but I'm like you, man. We need to go straight to the top. Go ahead and just go straight to the top. Rattle their cages up there. Let them know, hey guys, y'all work for us.
Yeah,
this is what we need.
For instance, there's here in Texas, we've had issues with some of the game laws, and our Texas Parks and Wildlife just drag their feet until somebody is elected who actually cares about certain laws, and then they have the power to make things escalate. And so, the power really is the people, and if you enough of us speak our mind to the right people, things get changed. So
guys,
just wanted to get that out of the way, before we have our fun, because it ends with that and we go on for a long time.
And guys out there in chat, man, guys, if y'all have any information, like I said, where people in your state can get a hold of your legislature, post it. Post their pictures, post their emails, post their numbers if you got it. And let's start, by really getting and going to the top with this stuff. So if anybody's out there, if you've got, where you can do that, definitely post that information for your people to see.
Run back through here and see who all's jumped in with us. We got Juan, Eagle Eyes TN to welcome in Juan. We got Thomas Esslinger, Monster Cat Mafia. Welcome in, buddy. We got Evan Warden. Welcome in, Evan. We got Mike Graham. Welcome in, Mike. We got JTC, Jeremy's Tournament Cats. Welcome in, buddy. Jeff Martin, my hometown boy. Sean Donovan, another Texas angler. Welcome in, boys. We got, I think we already said Justin Rancier. We got him. We got Paula Curtis Smith. Welcome in, Paula. She's big into big fish conservation and trying to educate people about the toxic junk that is in the water that we went into pretty heavy last week. Let's see. Moving on down. Nathan Lorick. Welcome in, Nathan. And I think, yeah, we already said Brandon Ladd. Richard Gadget Green, welcome in. Ed Jenkins, our Carolina Lake or our Operation Vets with Nets teammate. We got Dimitri Lockett, one of my fishing buddies, Mad Cat's boy. Welcome in. We got Danimals Creations. Welcome in, Dan. Francisco Aguirre. What's up, Francisco? And Brian Henry. Welcome in, Brian.
Man, we got a hell of a crowd. Hell of a crowd, man. And a good way to start the show, too, man, for everybody that missed it.
We're going to do some giveaways tonight. Let's go ahead and do our first one, man.
Hey, yeah, man. Let's do it, man. I tell you what. Let's go ahead, Chris. And let's do a couple of koozies, man.
All right. Let me see if I can pull a randomizer up here.
And how you want to do it.
Let me pull up a randomizer.
All right. Guys, we want to basically say thank you all so much for supporting the Slime Show, man. This year has been a blast. It's been amazing. It's like I said earlier about some of the subjects, the people we've had to come on, some of the best anglers there is, man. It's been a wild ride, and it's only just beginning. You know, this is just a little way of saying thank you to all the people that supports us. We bring you the facts. We bring you the news. It's raw. It's straight to the point. We don't sugarcoat it whatsoever. And we thank you so much for everyone that has texted us, that has wrote us, telling us how much they've learned, how much that they've put the stuff that they've heard here on the show to use. I mean, all the way down to using graphics, even fishing techniques. I mean, it's amazing at the feedback we've heard, and it has really energized us. It really has given us, you know, that hope that we are putting on the best show that we can. Like I said, we definitely tried to be different, and it's been amazing, and we couldn't do it without y'all. I mean, week after week, Wednesday, you know, it's just unbelievable at the support y'all guys have given us and Carolina Lake Weights for sure. And Chris, I know he feels the same. I mean, that dude's a knowledge of all kinds of stuff. I mean, he's like a walking book.
He can tell you about bow and arrows, and flint tip, bush hooking, and
trout lining, and
jugging, and bush hooking.
Yep. We can tell you definitely how to take a knife and cut them daggone things.
Oh, man. So what are we giving away, Jamie? I wasn't paying attention.
Let's go ahead, Chris, and start it out with a couple of koozies, man. Guys, these are brand new koozies that we just come out with here at Carolina Lake.
Man, I need some of them. Those things take flight out of my boat.
But yeah, we'll start out with those. And
all right, let's go. Let's do the red one first. Guys, pay attention to chat. All right, try not to duplicate the number. If you duplicate the number, you're losing out because we're going to go with the first guy. We're going to choose number 1 through 100. Jamie, are you
Chris,
frozen?
let's go ahead and make this for a pack of 2. Right here.
Pack of 2. All right, pack of 2.
We're going
with number 1 through 100. No duplicates. If there's a duplicate, the first one wins. So go.
Good luck, guys. Like I said,
good luck,
man,
slime lovers.
That's it. This is just a way of us saying thank y'all so much for supporting the show, man. We couldn't do this without y'all guys.
Yeah, we're having fun. It really, more than the support, it's just we've made a lot of friends. Love seeing a lot of the same people come in and spend time with us. I love that we got so many awesome guests that are willing to share really in-depth information, tips, tricks, life events, and stories. It's cool, man. I've made a ton of friendships out of this show. That's one thing I wasn't really planning for, but that's probably the best part of it.
Chris, I'm like you, man, and I can tell you, man, even here at Carolina Lake Weights, man, all the love and support. I mean, y'all guys rock, man. Y'all really do. And we, like I said, myself and Rebecca, all of our people, man, we love y'all guys and appreciate y'all.
You get one guess, Tommy. Come on, man.
Chris, I can't believe tonight was 50 shows, man.
I know, it's crazy. Crazy. That's a lot of gum flapping for a couple of country boys.
Dude, I tell you what, it is. Hey, that's why we don't read a script or nothing like that, man. We just bring it to you.
Yeah, I had a script the first show, and the script got thrown out the window 2 minutes in.
Man, when we were talking about this, Chris, I was like, man, I don't know, man. I'm pretty nervous, man. I don't know. And I tell you, I wouldn't do. Yeah. I wouldn't. Really,
we're gonna run out of stuff to talk about after the first show or two, man.
That's it.
It's cool that we got so many awesome guys to come on and willing to share. And then, really what makes it flow is the chat. All our buddies on here make it fun. It's just like a bunch of buddies hanging out around the campfire, Yep.
Chris, it looks like, are you coming to everybody slowing down on your side?
Yeah. Slowing down. So let me spin this wheel.
All right, guys, that's it.
I got a wheel from 1 to 100. We're going really high tech for this show.
Looks like
79.
Yep. Let me go back through.
$79. Got a couple of beer koozies. Anybody who guessed 79, there he is, Corey Whaley. Unless somebody guessed it before him.
I don't see nobody on this side, Chris. Yeah.
Corey Whaley got him some koozies. It's time to celebrate.
You go, brother. Couple of brand new koozies from Carolina Lake Weights. Congratulations, Corey. If you would, brother.
Well, Jason, I put on an annual catfishing tournament for years. It was a youth angler tournament / big fish competition / catfish get together. It was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of work for me. It got to a point where it was big, where I had to start getting recruiting sponsors, and getting sponsors for the prizes was not difficult, but getting sponsors for a lot of the other stuff is a lot of work. And tournament was fun, but I had guys getting mad because I would enter and my son would win. And I'm like, man, I'm going to do all this and I can't fish. So I don't know. I'm apprehensive to do the tournament, to run a tournament again. I like to fish. And yep, Dan came to the last one. That was a good time. I think my boat broke down that day. We spun the prop. Not cool, man.
Chris, if they want to, I guess they can get you your information. You can just send it to me, or
Yeah, we'll get the information. So, did you write down who won? At least write down the winners. Can can we? I have a notepad. I don't know if I have a pen.
Man, see y'all can tell we prepared.
I might have to run grab a pen. You got one?
Yeah, I've got one, Chris.
All right, Corey Whaley, two koozies.
All right.
Jason says he can keep track.
Okay. All right.
It's easier for you. Just whatever.
Yeah, if he'll keep track and just send it to you, that'd be perfect.
Yep, keep track for us, Jason. So just jot them down and take a picture of it when you're done. Send me a text, and I'll contact everybody. Or message me on Facebook Messenger. If you win, message me your address. Yep, Richard, storms have been rolling through here in Texas. We've had some crazy storms. I think we had 7.5 inches of rain 2 nights ago. James Edmonds says he put his mom on a PB 2 weeks ago, 30 pounds. He beat his PB by 10. Somebody's going to do it. It's good to have your family member be the one kid,
That's it. I love hearing that, man.
What's up, Tub? Welcome in, man. Welcome in, James.
Here, Chris, here we are with no pen, no paper. It's good to have people out there doing that. I know.
Man.
I know. I was excited about tonight's show. I forgot everything. We got the goods.
So I've got some ideas for topics. What are some ideas maybe some of you guys would like us to touch on, or maybe some guests we might try to get? Most of the guys we've tried to get have been receptive to come on. Some people are shy, which is understandable. They don't want to get in front of the camera, but most everybody I've asked has been more than willing to come on. Even the people that were nervous once they got on, they said, "Man, that was a lot of fun. It was a lot easier than they had expected." So, yeah, Richard, mowing grass in Texas right now is like an every 3-day event. So grass is growing.
Yeah, guys, let us definitely know what y'all guys would love to see more on the show.
Bending Tips got his mama a 43-pound tank. So, you know what? I wish I would have thought about that. We could have given her a 40-pound club decal. So, resend me your information, and we'll get her a decal sent out. And then maybe we can get y'all on the show next week talking about that fish, because that was awesome, man. Really cool getting mom on a tank.
I've been watching him, man. He's been burning it down, brother.
Man. We're in the middle of spawn. I'm like, what the hell is that fish thinking? It must have spawned early, and he's done. That's the only thing I can think of, because our shallow waters, hell, it's 84 degrees now already.
Man,
spawn should be wrapping up for the early ones.
Yeah, I'll be glad when it kind of start wrapping up. I know.
Jeff Martin says, talk about jug lining.
Boy, he knows how to get us going, don't he?
We're gonna do a show about bush hookers.
Yeah. Oh Lord. Boy, it's taking off right with the rest of it.
Richard Green says, I'm just too pretty to be on TV. Yeah, Animal's got him a 50-pound club decal coming. That's for sure, Dan. You're not on Facebook, but text me later and send me your information, and I'll get one out to you because all the kids on my boat that caught their PBs on Carolina Lakeway is going to get a decal. So your son gets one too. He got I think a 43. Dan got a 50. So y'all got a couple coming to you. I'll make sure you get them, Dan. Those were some epic trips. Loved getting those kids on some giants.
That's it, man. That's exciting, man. I know it is for the kids.
We had a great time.
For the parents, especially, man, watching these kids behind that rod, man, just pulling them fish in and enjoying the fight. That's what it's about. It really is. And guys, if y'all have any questions for us tonight in chat, anything we might be able to help you out with, let us know. Put it out in chat. Any questions, and we'll try to answer them to the best of our knowledge, for sure.
Brian, getting skunked on the Lampasas River is probably not that hard to do. Shoot, man. I wouldn't sweat it. Man, we're in the middle of spawn. Just blame it on that. So. Hookers. That's what Jeff's talking about. Bush hookers. That's last week. Somebody's like, bush hookers and jugs. LOL.
Yep, that's another show in itself, I can promise you.
Yep. Dom got a 45, so Dom will get a 40-pound club, and we'll get you a 50, Dan. We need to get Tommy on with JT Catfish Kid with his 105, baby.
That's
Woo!
it. Definitely love
JT Catfish Kid. He holds the record for biggest fish caught on a Carolina Lakeway.
You know what?
He's the king of Carolina.
I think I've watched that video, Chris, probably 15, 20 times, man. I love
it. Makes you smile too. Those boys were going nuts, and the teamwork. Really, the teamwork was cool. I love when I got two kids on the boat, like Danimal and my son. They're all let me net it. I'm like, yeah, go for it. Dan's like, he's gonna drop that net. I'm like, oh well, it'll be good. It'll be worth it watching him. If he drops it, he drops it.
You know, I watched that. I watched that fish when it first surfaced, and I could tell on the video. You could hear the boys and everybody go, oh my god.
I know that feeling, man. I still get it at 49. You know, it's like, man, I was living it right there with them. When that tail flaps and you get really what's cool is when you get that giant next. Now, obviously, I've never caught one at 105, but when you get a giant next to the boat, first thing I notice is, man, that thing's eyeball is bigger than mine.
Yeah.
It's a giant.
Yeah. Dude, you could almost feel the air just leave the room you could just hear it when they've done it. Bruce was asking asking about dragging tips.
Dragging tips. We always have dragging tips. Luckily, you came to the right place because we're some dragging fools over here at Carolina Lakeways, man. I would say if you're in 35 foot or less, use a 2 ounce. If you're in no current, use a 2 ounce. Richard, here's just the basics. Find some structure and drag across it. Usually a mid-depth structure, doesn't matter what time of the year. If you're not really sure what you're doing, mid-depth structure, put a 2 ounce on, keep your bait about 2.5 feet off the bottom, drag over it, you'll catch fish.
Yep. Most definitely, brother.
Brian says right now he'd be happy with a 2-pound catch. Well, Brian, come on the war machine. We can fill the boat with 2-pounders. It's Eaterville right now here in North Texas, man. That's all we catch. Well, we got a 20 last trip. That was, I tell my buddies, that was lucky. My lake don't produce those in spawn.
Chris, this is where me and you being more the lake guy, me being more the river guy. Francisco asked, live bait or cut bait? Now, I would have to ask, what kind of water system are you fishing? Are you fishing lake? Are you fishing river? Current? No current? Because we have probably two different scenarios for that, depending on what you're fishing.
Tommy says dragging speed 0.3 when the water temps below 60, run 0.5 above 60. I'd agree with that. We ran 0.7 last trip. That's where they really wanted it. Water was 82 degrees. In the winter, I typically go 0.3. I will go as fast as 0.5. I don't go faster than that in the winter. And usually 0.3 on a windy day, I try to keep it at 0.4. But I'll go 0.5 because sometimes the fish want you to go faster. And hell, I went to Texoma this year in the winter and I wasn't catching nothing. And I called one of the best anglers I know, Daniel Armstrong. I'm like, man, you guys are moving fast. He's like, yeah, we're hammering them. You might want to go a little faster. I'm like, how fast are you going? He's like, we're going 0.9. I'm like, damn, I don't ever go that fast. So I bumped it up to 0.7, started catching fish. We didn't get a nibble at going 0.3, 0.4. So I've never drifted that fast in the winter, drug that fast, but it worked. So if something's not working, don't be afraid to try something different and play with your speeds, Bruce. Bump it up, bump it down.
Chris, looks like Francisco's fishing West Texas lakes.
Lakes. I mean,
he was asking.
The water warms up, the fish are more active. They're more willing to go get baits. But if there's in the winter, a lot of times we're fishing post front right after storms have blown through. You want to really slow down your presentation on days like that.
And he was asking cut bait or live bait.
I drag cut bait.
Yeah. Yep.
All the time.
Let me see here. I'm going through.
Now, if I'm anchoring up for flatheads on cover, which is like log jams, rocky boulder fields, stuff like that, undercut banks, I use live bait. I don't ever use, but that's just not to say that cut bait wouldn't work. That's just not the way I was raised to catch them. So that's how we do it here. We use mostly bluegill, green sunfish, bullhead catfish if you can get them.
Yeah, if you're, like me, Chris, being here on a river system, I use a lot of live bait. Now I use a lot of cut American eel. I love American eel on our river system. We have a lot of success with catching blues with cut American eel. And
so the reason I like cut bait is because it's easy to deal with. Plus, you're cutting it, you're leaving a scent field. Now, when I present my cut bait, I present it when I'm dragging as a live bait.
Yeah.
A chunked up bait doesn't catch as good a fish for me. Now, eaters, they don't seem to mind. They're going to just go hit whatever's floating by. But bigger fish, I've done way better on really big fish using baits that are either whole baits, or if it's a giant bait and I have to trim it down, I trim the thing down to even look like a fish. I've just become very methodical on how I catch my big fish. And I used to use chunk bait. I didn't catch nearly as many big fish as when I use bigger baits. And I try to present them like they're injured
Yes.
when I'm dragging. That's worked for me.
Yeah, get that. You know, a lot of people don't know sometimes, man, when they're cutting up baits, you can do it, just chunk them up. But myself, I like having it where a fillet is pretty much just waving like this when I'm dragging, you know, baits and stuff like that. That way it makes it look a lot more livelier. But like I said, a lot of people just chunks it up. But for myself, you know, I like just having that fillet just sitting there doing that as I'm dragging.
I think smaller fish are more scavengers, larger fish are more predatorial, and there's not a lot of dead fish in a fishery. Big fish are also lazy eaters, so they look for an easy target, something that's injured. They orient themselves around predatorial fish that are injuring fish, and then they go pick on the injured fish, or maybe even the predatorial, the game fish that's feeding on them, because the game fish is up there looking at the bait, and the catfish can just swim in and eat it real quick, just suck it in and move back out. So that's how I fish for them.
And Chris, a lot of people might not know, but when the double hook rigs, you know, what's your favorite time of the year you use a double hook rig, man?
I start using the double hook rig come October 1st. And I'll switch to the double hook rig. I put it on. Now, to me, it's just the way that I've always done it. And I switch October 1st. As soon as we get our first big influx of cool rain coming into the fishery, I'll put 2 of them on, and I start that way. And then as soon as I start catching really big fish, I put 2 more on. And then right about that time, I start moving out to different fisheries with giants in them. And as soon as I go to those lakes, I put 6 of them on. So I got 3 on one side of the boat, 3 on the other.
Jeff, I don't know about the live chicken, brother. But you know, Chris, that's some good information, man, because a lot of people might not know about the double hook rigs, or might just use, regular single hooks. I mean, that's don't be. But that's some good information. A lot of the guys might not understand sometimes. Is
Yeah, it boils down to what the fish. Now, every fishery is different. My fishery, what's going on is they come into the lake, and there's an intersection of the fish that are already in the lake moving up into that shallow water to feed in that oxygenated water. And what's up in there? Sand bass, stuff like that's coming up in there and feeding on threadfin shad, gizzard shad. Giant catfish are starting to see what's going on there. They see all that activity and action, and they start keying in on that activity. So I'm kind of matching my fishing with what's going on with the fishing activity. If I'm in the springtime and it's a threadfin shad, I'm going really small on my baits. It's the only time of year I go really small, because catfish start keying in on those threadfin that are spawning. And I've just caught way better fish that time of year. So I think it really depends on the pattern that you're fishing. This before this threadfin spawn, I was fishing up at Lake Texoma. I'm going with giant baits. My buddies are like, I'm using tiny baits. I'm like, yeah, well, how big are the fish you catching? They're like, well, we got 15 eaters and a 20. What'd you get? I'm like, well, we got an 85 and an 83. We use giant baits, because that's what was going on. Those striper and sand bass were moving up into the river to spawn, and the big catfish are in there hoping to get an easy meal on the ones that are coming through. So,
yeah, definitely. yeah, guys. You know, we might need to do another show here shortly to do a refresher on the dragging and drifting part of the stuff. So that might be another one. So we might touch back up on that if y'all guys would like to see another show on that. I know I've seen Francisco and a few talking about it, and I believe that would be another good subject to touch up on. And guys, if y'all have any more questions, please put them in chat.
Nathan,
Let us
what's the
know.
best tips on catching shad at different times of year? And I know for here in Texas, shad, for me, I generally fish, or I generally catch my shad on main lake structure. Uh, what is structure? Structure is river channels, depressions, ledges on banks. Uh, anywhere where there's some type of feature that I can pinpoint and then scan on that feature and drop my net right on them. Now that's not the way a lot of guys do it. That's just the way I do it. That's what works for me. So finding bait different times a year, it really depends on the season. There's a seasonal migrational pattern that you can kind of follow, but then you also have to go with the daily weather patterns to decide where in that migration they're going to be. So the seasonal migration depends on where in the lake they are, but the weather pattern depends on where they specifically are in that section of the lake. Are they up on the shoreline? Are they up on a windblown shoreline? Are they down in a depression? Getting the bait is, man, that is one of the things that will really make you pull your hair out when you're trying to figure out these blue catfish.
That's it. And Trinity, what's the standard length for leaders for dragging? That's a good question, man. It really is, and that could go a couple different ways depending on, if you like a little bit shorter length leaders on certain days, or a little bit longer leaders on certain days. Chris, how would you break that down, brother?
I generally go with about a 3-foot leader, and so what I'll do is I'll have my inline rattle, which is like, you got any in front of you, Jamie? So you got your inline rattle. I'll make my inline rattle adjustable, so I won't tie my knots to the eyes. I'll make it where I can slide that thing up and down. I'll use like a zip, like Jamie's got a zip tie on the bottom eye. That makes it where it's adjustable. So most days you're using that thing up there close to the hook, and you got about a 3-foot leader, right? But let's say you got a day where all of a sudden you're fishing east wind. You got high barometric pressure, and the fish are real lethargic. They're all just laying in the mud. On a day like that, pull that thing down where that hook is now riding closer to the bottom.
Yes.
So pull that demon dragon down by your swivel. Closer.
Yeah. I got it stopped right there right now. Okay. It won't go closer, but you can go closer, yes.
And that's how I do it. So on a day where let's say you got a north front hitting. Well, that's a day that the fish lay in the mud for the most part. You're going to want to put your baits real close to the bottom because fish get lethargic. They don't want to go get it. You want to keep it down by the bottom in front of their face, so they only got to move 6 inches when it goes right by them and they eat it. You'll catch way more fish that way. But on days where they're active, I keep mine up right around probably 3 feet. And they're not all exactly the same. I'll have a few that are a little bit shorter than others just to play with it,
Yeah, that's like mine, Chris. I have several poles that I normally take with me. That's why I normally take about 15 or 20 rods with me, especially in a tournament. Different lengths. I like on different days, but each one of my poles, I might have 3 or 4 set up identical. I might have 3 or 4 other ones set up a little bit different until I break it down on what they like the most, and then I can dial it in with my other poles on what they're biting on that day.
So Evan says when he has extremely long leader, does that bait just spin in the water and have not had much good luck on longer leaders? But you're fishing current. So that's completely different than fishing a lake. So current, generally, you're going to have shorter leaders. If you do have one that's a little bit longer, you use like a chain swivel, something that's going to keep that thing from I mean, if you're in current and you don't have a streamlined bait, your thing's going to be helicoptering. So that's another thing. Streamline your bait so that thing's just going like that in current. But in a lake, we got guys here in Texas. They got a rig called the Texoma rig that became real popular after the Cat Masters tournament, and all these big time anglers came down here and got their tails handed to them by these guys in Texas that were using what they were calling a Texoma rig, which is a 2-hook rig. One of the hooks is 10 feet off the bottom. They float that thing with a large, it's like a seining net float, big old float. They float that thing 10 feet up off the bottom. You got a bait 10 feet up off the bottom, and you got one 10 inches off the bottom. Well, they were finding out that all these giant fish that were caught and won the tournament all come 10 feet off the bottom. So I think that is helpful when you're fishing a big ledge. This was 80 feet deep with a ledge that's like straight up and down. That's 40, 50 feet of ledge. So it's a little different type of fishing when you're fishing a canyon type style lake, but
yeah. And that rig I just showed, man, here on our what we call the Intercoastal Waterway, we have a lot of good current. That rig that I just showed just to demonstrate, Chris, works very well here in current. So, that's a good option. Also, that I use a lot. We do a lot of tournament fishing here on the river also, and it has paid off for us. And, the name of that one is the Jesse James rig. Yeah, it's got the 2 blade on it. And then we also have the 1 blade, the 2.0 one. And that's one of the reasons, Chris, you've done it on the lake. We've used it here on our river.
We got some PBs on that rig.
Yep, and it's been a universal style rig. So that's one of the reasons that we come up with that rig, that we found that Chris and everyone out in Texas have tested that one. We've tested it here on the local waterways with a lot of current. And it's been a very, very good rig to use.
So catfish are predatorial, and big ones like to attack live fish. So what's making them key in on a live fish is what we were thinking. Okay, well, they're keying in on a live fish. A fish, it creates vibration when it's swimming. It's not making a whole lot of noise, but to a catfish, the noise is the vibration. So we were thinking, well, tail swimming, what creates vibration? For bass fishermen, they use spinners on their blades. They bang around, they spin a little bit, they create a little vibration. What if we put one on a catfish rig? You think it'd work? I'm like, all we can do is try it. Well, I went and tried it. First trip we come back, we had a 50. Second trip we come back, we had another 50. Both of them come off the spinner rig. It's only one rig we had on the boat, was that rig. And the third trip, my boy Jesse got a 65. It was his PB, come off the spinner rig. And so I thought, well, all our best fish on 3 trips in a row come off that spinner rig. Got to be something to it. And
man, they love that rig. It's that vibration, that fluttering that you see come off that blade. It just grabs their attention, and it just brings them right in.
You got one to give away?
Yes, sir.
Let's give one of those bad boys away.
Yes, sir. I got one right here. We're going to give the Jesse James rig right here, Chris. The first version with the 2 blade.
Awesome.
There it is right there, guys.
That's the PB buster right there, buddy.
Yep, and that's the first version with the 2 smaller blades on it that works real well. It's hard to keep these things in stock, so
Yeah, I think the first version we caught the 250s off of.
yep.
The newer version we got the Jesse's PB, the 65 up in Texoma. So
That's it, man.
when
Guys,
we reel those fish in, every time I'm like, looky there. The
Yep.
spinner rig. That was before we had it named.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys that right there, it works real well if you're in a lake, if you're in a river system with current. Like I said, it's been a very good rig for either way.
Yeah,
So,
and you know, guys, it doesn't need to be spinning like that to work. I believe in the lake, it's just basically kind of fluttering around, creating a little bit of vibration, maybe like a tail, of a bait fish. It's creating something that big fish were keying in on. So,
yep. And guys, also too, you can tell that we're doing these with the unfinished ends. That way, you can put your swivel also on there if you would like. From that question we had earlier, or you can just take it and tie it right to your swivel. So you can do it either way.
So a lot of guys like to use a 3-way rig.
Yep.
A 3-way swivel with their rig. And when I drag, I like to use sinker slides. So, for me, the reason I like the sinker slide, because I don't drop my baits in. I send mine long. And when you're casting a sinker slide, it separates away from your rig. So in a lake, when you're sending your stuff long, you reel it all back in. You don't have things that are all tangled, because I do still use some 3-way swivels, but they tangle a lot more. And that's
that's what Chris is talking about right here. A heavy duty sinker slide. If you don't have none, guys, definitely invest and get you some. We got them right here, Carolina Lake Wakes, brother.
Jesse James Ogden says, my name is Jesse James. Pick me. I'll put it to use. See if I can get a big flathead.
Yep. Jeremy Tournament Cats, he definitely uses a 3-way. He has a lot of success down in Santee Cooper on the Cooper River down there with that. So it definitely works. Chris, you got your ramming, your little tool again?
Yeah, 4-digit fish. He says, do you guys think rattles help any for us bank anglers? I would say most definitely.
Right here is another version, guys, that a lot of people, if you've never seen, this is called the Shockwave that we build here at Carolina Lake Wakes. It's it floats like a 3-inch peg float. It rattles, and in current or you're dragging, it spins and rattles, but it floats your bait up also, guys. So that's the Shockwave that we have here at Carolina Lake Wakes. We have several rattles, so you're definitely at the right place for rattles.
All right, guys, we'll go again. A number 1 through 100 for the Jesse James rig, spinner rig.
All right,
outlaw spinner rig. Let's go 1 to 100. Go.
Good luck to everybody, guys. We definitely, when you get this rig, definitely let us know what you think about it.
Even if you're fishing, you're stationary, there's generally wave action, and even when there's just wind, wind creates current in lakes, and you think, is there current on the bottom of the lake? Yes, there is current even on the bottom of the lake. Guys think, no, there's only current on the top when the wind. That is not true. It's been proven. There is current in a lake, even 50 feet deep. So, yes, they are effective. And you don't have to have a loud rattle that's doing all of this. That actually is not natural. You listen to a bait fish online, the sound of a bait fish being predated. It sounds just like a rattle that's doing this. That's it. That's all they sound like. They don't sound like a rattle rattling. So that's really not what that's not natural. So you don't need something that's like that. It's that's what a bait fish sounds like that's being predated. You can go on. There's a company that's got electronic bait sounds in their lures. You can go hear what the recording of a shad is, of a perch, of a bluegill that's feeding. You can go hear what they sound like, and that's almost the identical sound that a rattle makes. That's why they work.
Guys, Chris, it looks like the numbers are slowing down. Give it maybe 20 more seconds, guys.
Tommy says, why do you think your leader tangles for no reason? It's that deep current you can't see. That's right. You can't see it. And, sometimes your stuff comes back and it's all, it's just been twisted up. It's been down there spinning because there's a little bit of current and you didn't hook your bait, right. And it's doing this number.
All right, guys, that's it.
All right, y'all ready? Everybody got the numbers in. Tommy, that's all we use here is redneck philosophy, buddy. It's just what we think over. It's an educated guess from experience. And
good luck, guys, on the Jesse James rig.
31. I see Corey Whaley had 32. Didn't he already win?
Yeah, he was.
Son of a. Oh, he's over. You got to have.
He's over. Yeah, he's over by one.
I got Jason, 29.
Yep, that's what I see too, Chris.
Yeah, I don't see a 31. Jason, congratulations, buddy.
Yep, congratulations.
Mark yourself down for the for the Jesse James Outlaw Spinner Rig.
Yep. Congratulations on that, buddy. Man, that's a lot of fun, man. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. I love giving stuff away. Corey said, so close. I wouldn't be surprised if you win another one, Corey.
He seems to be pretty lucky. He's close. But, Chris, while we have a second, for a lot of the ones that don't know, we definitely have a lot of rattles here at Carolina Lake Weights. We definitely make a lot of our own rattles. We have the Stunner rattles. We have the Shockwaves. We have the Carolina Twisters.
Yeah, so guys are like, what's the difference in all the rattles? And I'm like, well, if you'll notice, they each put out a little different sound. And guys are like, which one's the best? And I say, man, there is no best. When it comes to rattles, there's generally one that outproduces all of the other ones on any given day. Now, the next day, it might be a different one. And what makes one produce over the other, I don't know. But I can tell you, some of them have a slug in them, and they make a deep, rolling kind of rattle sound. Some of them have a bunch of smaller beads, and it's a much higher pitched sound. On certain days, I catch all my on some that are barely making any sound. On other days, I'm catching mine on the loudest ones. So I use a variety.
And that's just like these right here. These right here, Chris, They're a deeper, quieter sound.
That's what worked for me last trip.
Yep. And then you got these just a little bit louder. And now, for the ones that don't know, we also have the 5-inch. It gives it that little bit more of a.
Yeah, they pull out a lot more sound. So
yeah. So, yeah, guys, we also, like I said, the 5-inch, we have them. And every one that we have, even all the way down to what we were just showing, the Shockwaves has a different sound. So
Corey says his wife is feeding him the numbers. Corey, send her to the store, pick up lotto ticket. Get me one while you're at it.
That's it. That's it.
Colors of rattles, I really don't think that matters. I mean, I still go with a natural color for the most part, but from just I don't believe the color matters as much. I think the rattle is the dinner call, and then once they get there, they're looking at what that beautiful bait is. It smells so tasty. It's like the dinner call, and they're like, "Oh wait, what's this double cheeseburger over here?" Bam.
That's it. And that's just like this right here. You know, when you rig these Shockwaves up, that's what they're gonna look like right there. In current or you're pulling, I mean, they're gonna be turning, they're gonna be rattling, and it's gonna float your bait up. And each one of the ones that we have, like Chris was talking about, here's the Carolina Twister.
I rigged those up too.
You can tell it has that little bit more of a tinging sound.
I actually rigged those with an inline rattle, and sometimes I'll put just one of those on a rig that's really close to the bottom.
Yep.
Why do I do that? I don't really have a rhyme or reason. I just know that usually on a certain day, like I'll catch every fish on that one. And I'm like, damn it, if I didn't have this on there, would I have even got any fish? You know, so I carry variety. I rig something like that. That's right there. That's the original way I started rigging my stinger rigs. Probably, I don't know. That's probably been about 10 years since I started using that style. And those work. I've caught a million big fish on that rig right there. I mean,
and for everybody that don't know, we have rattles in every 3-inch peg float. Also, it just So
something different.
That's it. So
and my buddy's like, "What's the best way to rig?" I'm like, I got 6 different rigs on my boat. I mean. I let the fish just tell me what some days they don't care. They hit them all. But certain days, they generally going to pick 1 or 2. And you'll catch, if I catch 10 fish, sometimes all 10 will be off one rig. All 10 fish off one rig. So there's something to it. It's not just coincidence.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing how that can happen, man? I done a live not too long ago on TikTok. I had one pole that was constantly bam, bam. I mean, just catching fish, fish after fish on that cotton candy pole that I was using that night on that live stream. There's a few people in here, Alex and a few of them that was watching, and they can tell you, man, that pole never sits still more than probably 5 minutes, and it was going under. It was back and forth off of that one rig. And I'm like, man, whatever I have on that.
Thank God I twisted that one up, huh?
Yeah. So I mean, and actually that was the Jesse James rig that I had on that pole, and I think that night the striker rig was the second other one that was getting hit. And when we say the striker rig, that was this rig right here.
Yeah.
That you see right here.
Yeah, that was what I used to call on my old videos. You'll see that's my basic. That's what I call my basic dragging rig. Now it's not basic, but for me, that's my standard. That was my standard dragging rig, the old style demon dragging with an inline. That's an old Versa rattle, which Whisker Seeker first come out with that. Now it's been copied, and everybody's got one. So that's just the inline ball type rattle.
So It's amazing. I mean, that's why I said you can have several different poles rigged up certain ways, and just dial it in, and it'll be amazing. That one rig
Some
was
days that one rig, I'm like, man, what would I have done if I had all my poles rigged like that? Now I know some guys will start catching them on one rig, and they'll start switching out rigs.
Yep.
I just tend to just kind of go with it and with what I got, because I work hard, but I ain't working that hard to switch out 10 rigs.
and that's why a lot of people say, man, how many poles do you take? I said, man, some don't. I'll have 20 rods on the boat.
Yeah.
And like I said, 3 or 4 of them is going to be rigged identical the same.
Yeah.
And different length leaders, longer length leaders. I'm going to actually, as a tournament fisherman, try to dial it in on what is really working for them that day.
I'd agree. I got rigs that I don't have hardly much on. It's a real basic rig.
Yeah.
I don't use those very often, but certain days, that's the one I really want, and I've got them right there under my gunnel. I can break them out and use them.
That's it. And Chris, I got one right here.
Jesse says, man, we can only fish 3 at a time in PA. Well, in Texas, we can have 50 hooks, no, 100 hooks in the water. So
that right there is going to be your basic 8/0 cork, and then right there, basic rig.
that's the basic rig we started dragging with. Well, I'll say drag. When we started drifting with about 20 years ago.
Yep.
That's your basic Santee rig.
Yep.
Drift rig. No rattle. Comal, pegged float. Generally an 8/0 circle hook. 3-way.
Guys, I can tell you, we have every one that you can think of right here at Carolina Lakeways. We have you covered, that's for sure.
I've caught fish on all of them. Then Tip says he puts out 8 to 10 rods when bank fishing with 3 different rigs.
Nice.
Jesse Ogden says budget rig starter kit. Carolina Lakeways has them.
Yep. And if we don't have what you need, you just shoot us a message if it's out of stock, and we will make sure we have it for you. We definitely will.
I used basic rigs for 20 years. They catch fish. But I can guarantee you, the way I rig now, I'll catch a lot more. A lot.
You know, Chris, it's amazing. From a lot of the orders that we get, you look at what they order for us. Let's talk about rigs. Everybody is so different, and it's amazing. And that's why we have so many different rigs here. That a lot of people says, okay, I just want the basic Santee. I don't want all that. I don't want all that fancy, all that colorful. I don't want none of that.
That's fine. If you don't want to use that, use whatever you're comfortable with.
That's
fishing, a lot of it is confidence, man. It's confidence in what you're using, confidence in what's worked for you previously. If you're confident in it and you're not confident in something else, you're going to question your whole fishing experience, and that can be miserable if you're out there questioning everything.
And that's why I tell everybody, man, if you're not sure on what you really 100% want, go ahead and just grab you one of everything. I mean, there ain't no other way to just compare it to each one.
Yeah, do the self-test. A lot of us anglers, that's how you build confidence. You do the testing yourself.
Yeah.
And then you find what works for you. You build the confidence through your success, and you know what you like.
That's it. I myself, I have a tackle box, guys. I can tell you it should take 2 people to lift it, because I have every rig you can imagine tied up in that tackle box. And I do that for a reason. Yeah. I mean, some days, like you said, they might want the simple stuff. Some days they might want all the bells and whistles. I mean,
my rig changes from year to year. And the way I rigged last year is different from the way I rigged 2 years ago. And I bet by the time trophy season rolls around next fall for me, I'll probably have changed my rig again.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
something that I'm always constantly trying to tweak. I've got some improvements. I worked on some improvements this year on my Stinger rig. I'm not perfectly happy with what I did. I think I've shared it on the show before. I put a little like a hanger hook on my trailer Stinger hook to keep baits from spinning.
And Chris, that's
I
like
don't have any now, but
that's like that go big or go home rig, the double hook rig that we started out with. We sell tons of them, and you've tested it. We talked about it. You've caught a lot of fish with that rig, and just like you said, constantly trying different things is going to help you. I mean, all situations are different.
Yeah, the go big or go home rig is a double hook Stinger rig for big baits. I use them for 8 to 10-inch whole baits for catching fish over 30 pounds. So, for us in October, we start targeting 30-pound plus fish. Now, they'll still catch a 15-pound fish. It's just when you go big on your baits, you're trying to eliminate some of the smaller fish so that your hook is in the water when the right fish is there. If you're catching 12-pounders and your rod's out of your farthest planer board's out of the water with a 12-pounder in the boat, you're going to miss some big fish. You do that over a year time, and you've missed 20 really big fish because you're messing with a 12-pounder. So going big, that's the go big or go home.
That's it. I tell you, man, damn, when you're having this much fun, damn, boy, time flies by. Chris, I say let's do another giveaway.
Now let's do it.
I say we got it.
Because I tie my own stingers, and my buddy makes our custom rattles.
Nice.
I use some Carolina Lake weight stingers. I still tie a lot of my stingers too. There's something to I call rig tying is an art, and sometimes it's nice to have your own signature. It just feels good when you're a trophy catfisherman to know that I'm doing this my way. So I get that. But a lot of guys tying a big stinger rig with multiple rattles and figuring out how to do it all is not easy. So buying a pre-tied rig is, and I keep a bunch of Carolina Lake weights pre-tied rigs. So if anything happens and I get a nick in one of my rigs, I can say, oh, here I go. I'm fishing.
Alex, that's a good question, brother. It depends. I can say every situation is different. You've watched some of my lives on TikTok. If it's a get the fish in, get the hook out, pretty much I'll go ahead and chunk that rod back out real quick because I'm not worried about maybe a planer board or something like that and having to take my time when I do put that rod or that line back out. So if I'm on anchor, I'm going to chunk it right back out, and then I'm going to go to the fish, and it's just a few seconds. But if I'm dragging and I'm using a planer board and stuff, I'll go ahead and release my fish before I put my rod and my line back out.
I pretty much do the same thing, and if I got one on my biggest bait, I get that biggest bait back out there as quick as I can. Anybody that's on the boat with me, they realize they're like, man, what are you working so fast to do? I mean, we got the fish. I'm like, I want to get this bait that just caught this giant. We got to get it back in the water because, guys, giant fish run in pairs. If you just caught a giant on your outside longest planer board, get your bait out there quick. And, that board that is just inside of it, open the bail, release that thing, get that thing out there to that distance where the other one was as quick as possible. You'd be surprised at how many times you'll double up on the biggest fish, on your biggest, baddest fish. So that's why I do it. I mean, and not to mention, your biggest fish generally come for us, for me. I can't speak for everyone. Our biggest fish generally come off our biggest bait. So if I caught a giant on my big bait, I want to get that bait back out there as quick as possible, because every minute that big bait's out of the water is a minute that you could have missed another big fish. And in the grand scheme of trophy catfishing, on a good day, you may catch 5, 10. On a bad day, you may get 3 chances at a good fish. You might catch one of them. And if you're messing around in the boat for 20 minutes trying to leaving a rod out of the water, you might have missed a fish. So it's a fine line between victory and defeat. If you got baits in the water, your chances of victory go way up. So get your baits back in the water. Yeah. Boogerman Holmes, the Texas legend here, he says he believes they travel in packs. Well, I can guarantee you they travel in packs. I can see them on my side image, and I've caught enough of my very biggest, baddest fish in pairs. And to know that, okay, we got a 70. There's a good chance you catch a bookend that's almost a 70, a 68, a 72. When we got the 280s, we got an 85 and an 83. It's a fish of a lifetime we caught. The angler that was with me got a fish of a lifetime. And we ended up getting one that was almost identical to it. Now, one was a male, one was a female. I believe they were about to go mate. But yes, I don't know why, but yes, fish that are over 40, a lot of times they come in pairs. Fish that are in 30s, hell, we'll catch sometimes on our best day, we'll get 5, 6 of them at the same time, 30 pounders. They run in groups kind of like pigs. So, yes, get your bait back out there as quickly as possible. You can't catch a fish if your bait's laying in the bottom of the boat.
That is very true words, man, and you'll hear that a lot. If you don't have the bait in the water, you ain't catching fish.
Tommy says the biggest fish generally comes off our furthest board, and that board is generally 200 plus yards out. And you talk about the redneck thinking, Tommy. My only thing I can think of, because that's exactly true. Most of our best fish, a very high percentage of them come off our furthest board. That tends to be also our biggest bait. I put a giant bait on that board that's way out. And all I can say is I believe that really big fish are boat shy. Small fish, not so much. But the bigger they get, the smarter they are. When that boat's coming over them, they see a shadow, they hear something. If you're running your trolling motor, they push out to the side of the boat, and what's happening is they're spooked. And by the time they calm down, which 200 yards takes 10 minutes to go till your bait gets over them. So they got 10 minutes to calm back down, and right about the time that big bait's coming by them, they're like, oh, I got to have it.
and that's it. And something we hit on the other night when Tim was on, we were talking, a lot of people might not know this. Your speed at your rods behind the boat, if you're at 0.5, okay, you're going at 0.5. Now your pole's directly behind the boat. You're moving them at 0.5, but now your furthest rod's way out. Chris, what do you figure your dragging speed is on those?
I don't know. We had a really high level angler on a few weeks ago, and he tried to go into that. I have no idea. To me, I think the reason I think it works is for the exact reason I just talked about. I think that the fish are getting pushed out to the side of the boat, and your furthest board just happens to be in the perfect line, because I can see them on side image when they move out from the boat. Generally, you don't see them under the boat. I've been doing this I've been side imaging hardcore every week for 10 years. You don't see big fish directly under the boat unless you're out in deep water. They just don't stay under the boat. They're generally out to the sides. And our biggest fish, when we go over them, by the time they've left from the front of the boat till my side image, my transducer picks up their mark, they're generally about 50 to 70 feet out to the side of the boat. So they've moved that far really quick to get away from the boat. And then I think they just kind of sit out there as you go over them. And then you got a bait that's, like Tommy said, 200 back. It takes about 10 minutes to get that bait over that fish.
So those rods are probably moving around 0.2 out that far out. So your speed is definitely important when you're dragging, that bait's that far out. So you're saying about 10 minutes for that to get to that fish.
Yeah, it's almost 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something we discussed when we were talking about getting set up on fish and how long when you're marking good fish, how far back you should move off of them before you set up on them to drag across of them. And I said, depending on how fast you can deploy and how fast you can get your stuff spread out, it's about, for most guys, it's 150 to 200 yards.
So definitely when you find those fish and you go to set up on them, definitely allow you that much time to get your equipment out for sure.
Yep, I believe it's still traveling at the same speed, Josh, but the planer board smooths out your presentation because you've got a lot of slack line between the boat and the board, and then you have a long line from your board to your bait. So when you got wave action, you're going to see, like if I run two kicker rods out the side, I also run 2 long lines out the back. If you're in big waves and even though the rods are way back, the baits are way back, those generally don't catch much because I think it's the wave action is making a less natural presentation. But those boards are taking some of the bounce out. The amount of line, I use mono, so the amount of line out, there's a little bit of stretch. That also takes some of the jerkiness out of the presentation, and you'll catch all your fish on those. But you do need to have quite a bit of line out, but otherwise those boards are working against you on a big wave. They're actually jerking your baits around. So
Chris, what's the difference between dragging and drifting and bumping?
Well, dragging is using your trolling motor and fishing with it's more of a precision style fishing. Drifting is just lining up with fish. Well, the way that I still drift fish depending on what fish lake I'm on, but it's basically you marking a large group of fish or you're marking fish on a certain piece of structure. You're lining up with it depending on where the wind's blowing, and you're letting the wind take you across that structure or that group of fish to catch them. Dragging is finding the fish on a certain piece of structure. That might be a ledge or a river channel, and then you're using your trolling motor to keep you with precision on that piece of structure. So it might be that ledge, it might be that river channel, and you're using that trolling motor to your advantage to try to hit. For me, it's like hitting secondary features on that piece of structure where I think fish, over time, you start to see where they ambush. The biggest fish set up on structure to ambush their prey, and the baddest ones pick the highest real estate. When you drag, you can hit the tip of the point, the bend in the channel. You can hit those things with precision. You can lock right on to the bottom of the channel where you're marking fish. You get up on top of the or at the bottom of the ledge where you're marking fish. You get up on top, you're not marking anything. When dragging, you can keep your baits in the zone. You know, you can keep them in the zone, and you increase your opportunities, especially for big fish.
Yeah, and definitely, bumping is totally different. That's basically just taking your trolling motor, putting it on a line, and just sitting there with your pole and just constantly bumping.
Yeah. So Jason, bumping is basically getting in current.
Yeah.
And it's like Texas rigging a worm if you're a bass guy. You're bumping that thing along the bottom. You're picking the rod tip up, and you're keeping that bait on the bottom, but you're feeling it with the rod tip. You're keeping it in contact with the bottom, and you're just bumping your bait along, trying to present that bait in a natural way that a fish would move through the water. So,
yeah, it's a definitely a technique, Chris. I'm starting to see a lot more people do. I know, especially we've actually tried it here on our waters here on the rivers, and it really does work.
Tub, when I'm scanning a ledge, I generally go to the ledge I'm scanning. And the first thing I want to know is if fish are orienting to the ledge and how they're orienting to the ledge. So I'll kind of hit it at a cross pattern where I so that I can mark the bottom of it in the ledge and on top, because sometimes they're up on top of the ledge. So once I mark how they're orienting to the ledge, I don't scan the whole ledge. I stay off of I typically don't like to, if I'm scanning a certain piece of structure, I don't want to stay on that structure with my big motor. You can catch fish, but the biggest fish in the lake know you're there with the big motor. So so let's say I'm looking for the bends in the channel where I know the biggest fish are going to be. I may check the channel just to see if fish are orienting to the channel. And if they are, I don't go over the bends because I know the biggest fish are on the bends. And if I go over them with my big motor, they're gone. So I feel like if I'm marking good fish that are orienting to the channel, there's a good chance there's a really good one on those high valued real estate spots that are like the bends in the channel or the point that's bending out right next to the channel. I'll stay off of that thing. And that's just the way I do it, because I think the biggest fish definitely spook when you're trying to get a good mark on them. And
that's a very good one, man, because a lot of people might not, when they might not, know that a lot, but you can spook these fish if you get right on.
If I'm fishing shallow, I really stay off.
Yeah.
I try to get my mark as far away as I can. And if let's say I mark a 70 and I'm trying to anchor on it, I won't even drive the big motor up to it. I get off the big motor, get on the electric motor, and pull me up to where I can put my anchors down. Yeah. There's just been way too many fish that I marked with the big motor. Go back, can't find them. They gone.
And that's happened several times, man. If you going over them, you go, okay, turn around, you come back, you're like, oh, well, where did they go? Well, that's the reason.
That's the reason. I think the biggest, baddest fish spook easy. So I have a feeling Tub already knew that.
Well, here's the thing. They didn't get that big for no reason. You got to think about that. These fish are smart. And a lot of people don't give them enough credit for being so smart.
Yeah, if I'm going to drag shallow, I do the same thing. I mark the fish up shallow, but then I go way around and drag over an area that I haven't gone over with the big motor. Because you can see when you're up really shallow, you can see those big fish.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, they're in here.
Yeah.
Then I'll try to go where I hadn't been with the motor and fish that, because
that's it. When
you spook them, those big ones are pretty much gone. I don't know how far they travel, but it's not anywhere near where they were when you spooked them.
Yeah.
It may be at 200 yards, maybe 100 yards.
I think a lot of them they like you, Chris, about 100 to 200, maybe even a little bit more yards away from where they feel real comfortable, because these guys got that big for a reason, and they're smart. They really are. Just trying to get through, see if we had any more questions in chat on my side. Guys, y'all have asked some very good questions, man. Y'all really have.
Juan says his drifting and dragging game multiplied by 10 ever since he started watching the show. Definitely proven techniques that work. Love hearing that, Juan. We need to get together this fall and go to enter some tournaments together.
Richard asked Chris, how do you recognize big fish on the bottom?
Well, generally, like if I'm fishing up shallow, a lot of the areas that I know well, and they're typically mud flats up around the creek mouths or the river mouth. There's not a whole lot of stuff in there, and a stump looks a lot different than a catfish. So a flat bottom, if they're laying in the mud that day, you can see a bump, and if they're up shallow and they're moving around, they generally don't just lay on the bottom. Now, if there's a front that's just blown through, they will burrow down into the mud, but you can generally see them as bumps. And if you're in an area where you're seeing fish, you start paying attention to those larger bumps, and those are the fish. And I got a Helix. They're really good at spotting fish on side image that differentiate. It looks different than mud. Even though if they're laying in the mud, you can still see them on side image. Now, 2D, there's not any separation. If they're laying in the mud, it's just you see a bump. But on side image, they just look different. They've got a triangle-shaped head. They've got a soft body. It's just a different return. If I had graph pics, I'd show you.
And Chris, even we talked about here a while back, even the bladder, you can tell just also by the bladder in that fish. If you've got it pulled up and got your stuff dialed in.
Well, bending tips, I'd expect you'd be on the boat, buddy. So it's going to be a 3-man team on that tournament. That'll be a fun one. We better have a good showing. If I come, I want to come pre-fish it the day before, just so I know we'll do well. What else we got to give away?
Brother, I say let's give away a brand new, nice-looking patch Carolina Lake Weights hat.
Love it, man.
And with that, I will also throw in a brand new Carolina Lake Weights koozie with drip bolts, CLW on one side and Carolina Lake Weights on the other side.
I like that.
There you go.
I don't even have any of those. I need to get stocked up, man.
Man, we are coming out with all kinds of new stuff, man.
1 through 100, guys, go.
Yep, let's go. Yeah, guys, like we said earlier, man, we enjoy answering a lot of questions. So definitely, if y'all can think of anything, We'll definitely try to answer all the questions as we can on Wednesday nights during our shows. Sometimes we can't get to everybody, but thank you all so much for all the questions. Like I said, myself and Chris, we love hearing back from everybody that tells us how much they try, change their techniques to what we talk about. Uh, it's a lot of fun to hear, that's for sure. Well, brother, we definitely have the brand new orange jerseys on our website. We got blue ones and purple ones. Definitely, guys. There's a lot of stuff on there. We just released these. I believe Chris is wearing the blue one tonight. They're very comfortable. They look cool.
Yeah, they fit good.
Yes, they really do. Got some cool designs, as y'all see Chris right there. Got your Real Ming Day Big Kitty logos. Got Shockwaves. Got your Action Jackson logos. And we got on the back the Wetland Swag, the Jesse James, the Slime Show, and of course, Drift with Us, Drift Bold, and you got on your arms right there different things right here. So,
got the lucky 4-leaf clover.
Yep, that's it. So check them out, guys.
Looking good, man.
The stoppers I am putting on the rigs, basically every rig we have here at Carolina Lake Weights is a crimp rig. What I do is I crimp where I want that stopper to be, and that right there is pretty much for your 80 pound. So it's going to be a 0.1. And I normally take what we call the jelly poppers that we also have. It's a
Jelly
rubber
poppers. I like it.
Yep, we got the red ones and green ones that go right over the top of that. And y'all guys see it. It holds everything in place. It's nice. It's neat. And plus, it's not cutting anything. So everything is stationary. And that's...
Yeah, it looks clean. Looks good, man.
Yep.
You know, when I do my rigging, I've been crimping. I don't know how long it's been. It's been almost a year and a half to be crimping now. Love crimping. I got the crimping from Jamie when he very first made the change for Carolina Lake Weights to crimping. He's like, man, you got to try these crimps. It's clean. I'm like, all right. So I tried it and instantly I loved it. So,
and I can tell you guys, when you're crimping, make sure you get the right ones for the leader line that you're using. That's critical.
I tried a lot of different crimps, and I was very surprised at how wide of a difference.
Yeah.
Each one has a test strength because I did a video on it, and I found that high seas crimps for me was they were very uniform in their testing. They all worked the same. They didn't have 1 in 10 fail. They all held at the same pound test, which was higher than all the other ones.
And Chris, what we done before we finally settled, man, and what I done is I done a crimp test on every one.
Yeah.
And we took that very serious. And man, you've caught some huge fish. We've caught some.
I've never had a crimp fail.
Yeah.
And now knots, I've had some knots fail. It's not because I tied a bad knot. The difference between a crimp and a knot is your crimp, your knot is putting a lot of memory into the line, but it also is a point where when you're dragging it across stuff like rocks and trees, that knot is in a place where you get abrasion.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to have, when I would have a rig that would fail, and it's not usually on a fish, it would be when I was hung on a stump or something. It would break at that knot almost every time.
And y'all guys see right here how clean that is. I mean, that is definitely clean. And guys, one thing that a lot of people might not do, I don't know if they do it or don't, but I know myself, I do what I call a double crimp. I'll go, I'll
Yeah,
do
you
my
go
first crimp.
overboard. I don't double crimp, but I understand why you do double crimp because when I was doing my testing process, I found that certain crimps would slip.
Yep.
And what the double crimp will do will keep that tag in from slipping through your crimp. But what I also found, just because I had a saltwater guy said, yeah, when you're crimping, use the crimp that is one size lower than what your crimp sleeve is rated for. So I started doing that, and no more. I never had one slip after that. So that's a little something that I learned from a saltwater guide that started giving me some tips on crimping. When you crimp, use the size smaller on your crimping tool to crimp. For instance, I think I'm using a number one size.
A 1 point, yep,
Yeah,
0 mm.
crimp. It's rated for 0.8 millimeter line, which is 80 pound test.
Yep.
I use the size below that to crimp. So because when I use the 80-pound crimp, I was having some slips.
Yep. And that's why, like I said, I find it I'll start out with my first crimp, and then I'll bring it down to my smallest, to right there. And I can tell you guys, if you do that technique, it will work. It will work.
Yeah, so some guys are like, yeah, if you use a smaller one, it weakens your crimp point because you're pinching your line. I found that was not the case. I tested it. You can see the video. I did the test. That's not what happened.
Yep.
So now, when you tie just a basic snell knot, and or a Palomar knot, you're not going to get a whole lot of difference in crimp strength between your knot and your crimp. What it does is it gives you consistency. It gives it a clean look. And I think that it also, over time, it gives you a stronger connection. Over time, your knot will be weakened, whereas your crimp will not. So,
Chris, I didn't. I know we got off the subject and stuff. We need to put up the number thing again for the hat.
oh shoot, I went to the leak.
See, guys, unscripted at its best.
Yo, did our people already guess?
Yeah, we had the numbers.
Sorry, man. 52.
52. Up.
52.
We got one that hit it right on the head, Chris.
Chuck says his first year crimping seems to be good. I was apprehensive, Chuck. I was like, seems like there's a lot of room for error, but the crimping tool doesn't allow you to over crimp. You can under crimp. You can definitely under crimp, but if you use the right setting on your crimping tool and then just crimp that thing down hard, it's foolproof.
That's it.
I don't crimp at the hook, James. I still like to use a snell knot at the hook. I generally don't have snell knots fail. I don't even remember the last time I had a snail knot fail. If you got snail knots failing, you tied the thing wrong. It should be stronger than your line because there's double the line there. So I use the crimp basically at every other connection. And like Jamie, I'll also crimp my inline rattles on, not my Demon Dragon style rattle, but the Carolina Twisters and the Rattle Daddy, the Ursa rattle types. I crimp those on now.
Yep. I want to say congratulations on the hat, the koozie.
Who won?
Let's go back here.
JT?
Yeah, 52. The first one that was put in, I'm having.
JT says 51. Is he just sliding in with a late number?
Yeah, JT's sliding in with.
So I see Bruce got a 50.
Chat's left me behind right here going.
Holy smokes. Jason got a 52.
Yep, I just got it right here. 52, the first one that was put in.
He won again. He's the one keeping our score.
Yeah.
It's gonna be easy. Just send them all to Jason.
That's it. Put his together right there. Man, we got to talk about something else, but we were enjoying it.
That's freaking awesome. Glad you won it, buddy. I hope you slay a monster with that thing. Oh, wait, we gave away a hat on that round. He got the outlaw rig before though, right?
Yep, he got the Jesse James outlaw rig, and that time he got the brand new koozies that we just released. Drift, Bold, CLW on one side, and the Carolina Lake Weights on the other side. And he got himself a Carolina Lake Weights hat.
David Smith says, Carolina Lake Weights is doing good when Jamie has tied so many hooks and weights that he now has to wear glasses.
Hey, at least I know it's not my age catching up with me if that's the case.
Man, getting old sucks.
Oh, it does, man. It does.
Ain't nothing you can do about it, boys. So just embrace it. Just my rig tying. I used to could tie these rigs in my sleep, and it's not that way anymore. My wife's like, "Man, it's taking you a long time to tie your rigs." I'm like, she even noticed. I'm like, "Yeah, I don't see as good."
Yep,
Hard to tell everything right.
That's a good question. Do I notice anywhere where these spinners are right here? Honestly, to tell you the truth, you won't notice a lot of wear. It's. I have fished with some of mine now, Chris. I think before we released them, almost 6 months, and I'm still fishing with them today.
I've noticed zero wear from them. The only wear that I ever see on my rigs, I think it's from me sending them long and the hook spinning back around and nicking the leader.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to drop my baits down and wait 10 minutes to get them out.
Yeah.
I got to get my stuff out quick. I don't care if it creates a few issues like that. So.
Yeah. And like I said, we've been testing these a while before we put them out. And I'm still fishing with some of them, like I said, 6 months. So, I mean, now if I find out, maybe a gar or something like you were talking about, we nicked right through here, of course, I'm going to get rid of it. But, we've caught a lot of catfish with them and not had no problems as of yet.
I ran the same rigs all winter long. I mean, y'all know how many big fish I caught. It's crazy. I caught some trips. I don't know. We caught probably close to 30,000 pounds of fish this winter. Same rigs. I mean, I would occasionally sharpen a hook with my file if it was bent. Because you send them and they spin into the rattle and all that. And, if you catch 5 or 6 big fish, it's good to be able to sharpen your hooks. And occasionally there would be a hook that I would mess the barb up or something. I would cut that off and retie it. But for the most part, man, I learned from my guide buddies. I'm filing hooks and stuff now just because it's quick and easy to keep a hook sharpener right there on my bait board, and I can keep my hooks razor sharp I check them after every big fish. So,
and that's another good point, Chris, that a lot of people might overlook every now and then is definitely, man, keep you a sharpener on there. Definitely keep them hooks, good and sharp. I mean,
yeah, something I used to do was just cut them off and put fresh hooks on. But if you're really catching a lot of big fish, you don't want to be cutting your hooks off midday.
Yep.
I mean, on a really good day, we'll have 25 fish over 20 pounds.
That's it.
Guys are like, yeah, after about 3 or 4 fish, I cut mine off, and I'm like, that won't work for me. So I learned from my guy buddies, keep a file over there on my bait board. You run that file up one side of the hook 3 times. You run it up the side of the other hook other side 3 times. That thing's sharp.
Jeff, I have 2 line machines. Just like if you went to Bass Pro Shop or any bait and tackle, they have a line machine. I've got 2 of those that I do all my stripping all my line off and putting new line on. We buy, like I said, we have bulk rolls, and that's how I do all mine. A lot of people might use a drill, or something like that.
Tubb says, how long do you run, or when you're dragging, how long you run the baits? Man, I run mine long, boy. My buddy's like, man, I had no idea you run them that long. I'm like, yeah, I run mine long because big fish spook. And a lot of times they will calm back down by the time your bait gets back over them. If they're real short, you're missing a lot of fish. I used to run mine short. The longer I've been doing it, the longer I run them. It's just now, if you're talking about from your planer boards, that's dependent on how deep the water is.
Yeah.
If I'm in deep water, you need to have those things back so that it's a natural presentation. If I'm in shallow water, I'm shortening them up because I don't want a long line in shallow water because you're up amongst the stumps. You're going to lose a lot of stuff. So I shorten them up in that scenario. And that's just the way how I do it. It works good for us.
Yeah.
James Edmonds says, what knots do y'all use at the main line to the swivel? Jamie and I both crimp.
Yes.
So our used to be a Palomar knot for me. I replaced that with a crimp.
Yeah, crimping has definitely worked for us. I mean, for sure. We've caught, like I said earlier, we've caught a lot of big fish using crimps.
I like crimps. It's clean. It's also, if you've got an assembly line and you're rigging up 10 rods, let's say you're rigging up 10 rods and you also want to make extra rigs for in case you break off or something. You're on a travel trip. You want, let's say, 10 extra rigs. Well, you got your assembly line and you're crimping. You can crimp 20 rigs way faster than you can tie 3 different knots on 20 rigs. Now, if you're tying one, tying it's going to be faster. But once you get the crimps out and you got your crimping tool, I mean, it's a crimp, go to the next one, crimp, go to the next one, crimp. It's a faster process, but it's cleaner. And I have a lot of confidence in crimping. I didn't at first, but I got 100% confidence. I don't break off at my crimps ever.
Yeah, I even got one on the boat. I keep a crimp on there with crimps on the boat also, even though I do take a lot of pre-made stuff. I still have a crimp and some crimps on the boat with me.
Rapala has a line stripper. Can't imagine it will last long. 20 reels. Probably not, Jeff. A lot of guys will just get like their drill gun and a Coke bottle, and you just spin that thing with the line on it.
Go to your wife's kitchen and get those cake mixers that goes on her what you call that thing, that mixer. Take that, put it inside your drill, and there you go.
James, you can't go wrong with the Palomar. I used the Palomar for 30 years. Great knot. It's very easy. It's very fast, super effective. It's probably the strongest fishing knot that you can use because it's hard to screw it up like you can other knots. But the crimp is better because the crimp also protects it a little more from abrasion at that connection.
And I'm gonna put this out there too, Chris. And I think a lot of people, a lot of people when they crimp, they use one. We always use two here. I do that. I trust this one, but this one right here just makes me sleep better at night. I'm just saying. So that's what we do. A lot of mine with. I'll do the doubles, but I recommend the doubles.
Nathan, I've been fishing every week probably for about 30 years. Every week, year round. I travel fish a lot more the last 10 years. It's rare you'll see me on the same fishery more than about a month. I like to travel fish. I like places that present me with with a little more of a challenge. I go to big fish fisheries. When I drag, if I catch one big fish, I'm dragging it again. There is no doubt, without a doubt, I'm dragging it again. Now, how many times if I catch 6 good ones on my first drag and I go over it again and I catch 3 or 4 more, I'll drag it again and just see if I can get 1 or 2 more. Because moving to a different spot sometimes will produce 0. And I feel like fish in an area, they're moving around. You miss some of them that you can go back over and they've moved back into your area. You can hit them. So
now, Chris, do you go off of that by what you did when you just come through there?
Most definitely. Yeah, I got to feel real good about my first run to do it again. So big fish season, if I caught 5 good ones off my first run, I'm going to hit it again. If I got 2, probably not. I'm probably going to go check somewhere else. And, if it's just a flat and I caught 5 good ones, I may move over 70 yards and just hit the exact same run again because you're moving over the same group of fish, but you're going over ones that you might not have gone over before. Whereas if you're trying to hit a certain piece of structure, sometimes it's more about the structure than the area.
Yeah.
It really depends on what I'm seeing on the graph and how the fish are oriented. If it's the deep heart of the winter and we've had a big front and the best fish are all piled around the channel, I'll drag the channel all day long. Now, it may be 2 hours before I go back and hit that spot again. I feel like 2 hours, the fish that were feeding 2 hours before, a lot of them have already eaten. And now there's more that have decided, well, now I'm going to eat. So it's more about that piece of structure than worried about, well, I already caught these fish. Too many times I've gone over the exact same line. I mean, I stay on it and do just as well the second run, the third run. I'm not afraid to go over the exact line again. When we nailed the 85, we went over the exact line again and got an 83. So I believe those two fish were together because it's at the exact spot we nailed the first one when we caught the second one.
And Chris, normally about how much time after that are you in between your drags over that area? So do you feel that new fish?
My drags, depending on the time of the year, but it could be a 2-hour drag before I turn around and go hit it again. So, I mean, for the winter time, I'm generally in an area where there's a lot of fish. In the springtime, I'm going up into an area where there's a lot of fish. If you're getting into that what they call the 90-10 area. So 10% of the fish are in, or 90% of the fish are in 10% of the lake. I'm trying to get up in that 10% of the lake. Fish are moving all around in there, you know. You don't have to be super precise when you're in that 10% zone. You just got to find that 10% area. And wintertime's pretty much the same for me. I'm down where I can find that mass of fish that stays together. I know river fishing is different than lake fishing, and lake fishing is to be successful, to be really successful, you got to be able to find that 10%. And you know,
Chris, I've taken a lot of the techniques that I've done in the lake and transferred it over to fishing in the river. And I can actually tell you, I have caught a lot more fish. I used to be 100% an anchor guy. Now, I am dragging these rivers and catching 10 times more fish. Do I see a lot of people doing it? No. And there's a reason. There's a reason why I'm doing it. It's because it's working. The same philosophy that I used in the lake is actually working in our rivers. I'm using the planer boards, doing the exact same thing. So, guys, if you're fishing the river and you have not drug your river, definitely give it a shot, because you will find
they don't. They go with what used to, is what's worked for them in the past, and sometimes it's good to try some new things. I used to be an anchor fisherman. That's the only way we used to fish, man. And a lot of the areas that I'm dragging now, I used to anchor on.
Yep.
When I would anchor, I would have days where I would do really good. But then there would be days where I didn't do so great. I would catch a few, and then now I know where I caught some that time, and then I know on a different day I caught some here, and I caught some. Over time, I'm realizing, okay, in this area, there's some sweet spots. When I'm dragging, I can hit all of them. I can hit 5 sweet spots. When I anchor, I got to pick one and hope that they're there. Hopefully that little spot that I picked, they're really turned on or moving through that area. Whereas when you're dragging, you can hit those sweet spots.
That's it. And like myself, I just seen your question. Am I going upstream or downstream on the river? I am mostly going upstream. I am actually using that current to my advantage. Yes, I am maybe not dragging as fast as I do on a lake, because the current is actually doing a lot of the work for me. So when I'm dragging, and you're in current, man, it pushes them planer boards out quick and fast.
And I can dragging into current or dragging into wind. If you have to really be precise, that's a good way to fish for them. And then you know where they're at. You slow down your presentation and you hit those areas with precision.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a great way to do it.
I can actually tell you, I do not pull a drift stock out on the river. I do not at all.
Yeah, some guys do. Some guys will, just to keep the boat. If they're really using them more, almost as like you're anchor fishing, they'll put one out the back and they'll spot lock, and it's like you're anchored. It'll hold your boat steady. But Jamie's dragging like
If I'm dragging
structure.
Now, if I am sitting on an anchor, yes, because I will use that to keep the back of that boat from doing this, and 2 5-gallon buckets to do the same thing. But
Richard, why am I sponsored by Mad Cats? Well, I've
that's
used
easy.
most brands. Here's the difference. When I 3 years ago, after I'd switched from the second most popular brand, I was live streaming. I was telling all my people what I used to drag to pull these planer boards, and the company that I was using, they didn't pay me any attention. And we broke 4 rods on a live stream in 1 month on small fish, boat flipping small fish. Now the brand, they were quick to replace the rods, but I thought, well, okay, I'm doing this, and no one really gave me any uh, recognition. They didn't care who I was. They didn't make me feel special. And I thought, well, if I'm telling all my guys that this is the rod I'm using and I'm breaking them on 4-pound fish, it's kind of embarrassing. Uh, they were great action for planer boarding, but breaking rods on small fish, I thought, no, this not going to work for me. So I started looking around, and there was 2 rod brands that I looked at. Slime Cat rods, I like the color of them, and Mad Cats, I like the color of them. And there's a checklist that I was looking for. I wanted a certain action. I wanted heavy-duty stainless guides. I wanted fluorescent for night fishing, and I wanted an aluminum reel seat, and I wanted a certain type of foam handle. And Mad Cat had checked them all off. Slime Cat had checked them all off. Well, Slime Cat, when I did the pricing, they were $40 more a rod. So I'm like, well, I'm going to try these Mad Cats. I called Mad Cats on the phone, and I got somebody in their warehouse, and they're like, well, actually, the owner's walking through the warehouse. Because I was asking about rod action for pulling planer boards. And I'm like, I pull these planer boards for basically 20 to 80-pound fish. What would be a good rod for pulling planer boards? And they're like, well, the owner's walking through. Let me let you talk to him. They put Matt and I on the phone and went and talked to Matt for about 30 minutes about rod action and the rods and why he thought his rods were great. And it's like, all right, well, I'm going to try 2 of them. I picked 2 of the rods. I ordered the Orange Crush, and I still got them right here. It's the first one I ever ordered. And, I used them. They checked off everything that I loved about the rods. They were awesome. I haven't broken any in 3 years, where I was snapping those other ones, 4 in a row, and the rods weren't even a year old. I got online, and I noticed that there was not a bad thing said about the rods anywhere. You couldn't find a bad review. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll try these. I started using them in my live streams, and people were like, well, those are some awesome rods. What kind of rods are those? They sure look good. And I said, well, these are Mad Cats, and man, I'm loving them. And we started catching a bunch of fish on them. And before you know it, Mad Cat starts following me. And eventually they invited me on the team. So I love Mad Cats.
Yeah.
I used a lot of I got a stack of other brands right over here. I'm not going to show them. They didn't give a rat's ass about who I was, about all the fish we were catching, about my son breaking records. Mad Cats did. They thought what we were doing was cool and wanted to support us. So I'm going to stick with Mad Cats, 1, because I love the rods, 2, because they showed me love and support when all these guys over here wouldn't do anything for me. Didn't care. Just
I'm gonna back you up, man. Matt Knight, all them guys over there, they're real good people. Yeah, some of the best customer service there is. And I can back you on the rods. That's how I run is Mad Cats. Never had an issue with them. Been spot on since the day one I've got them, and I probably have got. I wouldn't be afraid to say I don't have 50 of them right now. I mean, it's crazy, man.
I've 50. I've given a bunch away.
Yep.
A bunch away.
That's it. I have myself, all of my boys, they run it. Had the Orange Crush rods, still got them, kicking strong, never had no problems or issues with them, man.
I've loved them. I've turned on hundreds of anglers. That's probably partially why it got me on the team, because I loved them. For one, they look awesome. I mean, they look cool. And that was one of the first reasons why I bought them. I'm like, well, these are different. They just looked awesome. And it was before all the colors on the boats and everything. I'm like, well, that looks pretty cool. And then I was like, okay, well, I got those. And then they came out with some green rods. I'm like, well, I think I'm going to make my colors all green, and it ended up working for me. It's like a trademark, so.
Yeah. And it doesn't get no better, man. We got every color here at Carolina Lake Weights to match all your Mad Cat rods, too.
Right. Mad Cats is based out of North Carolina, Rockingham, North Carolina.
Yeah.
I just got on with Texas. I had a pretty good following here in Texas. Guys that were following just what we were doing, because I'm a helpful guy. I was running a little tournament here for kids tournament. And I was helping a lot of our local guys figure out how to catch big fish. And Mad Cats just kind of liked what we were doing here in Texas. And, that's how I got on, man. Texas has more anglers than any other state. So it was pretty fast and furious when Mad Cats came to Texas. People were starving for cool rods. There's only one other rod company that was putting out a real catfish specific type rod. Mad Cats beat them. So in my
comparison. I was actually here local at a fishing tournament. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before, Chris. And I've got pictures of boats, and I believe every boat at that tournament had Mad Cat poles on it. It was unreal. And I've showed you some of the pictures. You can go on there, and it was just Mad Cats, Mad Cats, Mad Cats, and
Here's something cool also about Mad Cats. They give back to their anglers more than any other. I mean, you can say whatever you want to. They give more back to their anglers than anybody else in the industry, and it is not even close. I mean, they've got a state record program. If you catch a state record, you get paid for every rod. You get your own rod. You get paid for every rod. Not only that, they got a weekly big fish competition that Carolina Lake Weights helps sponsor. First place wins $500, which we've won $3,500. I mean, hell, we got our gas paid for last year. We've won 12 rods. Every one of my green rods was free from winning. We've given away, I can't tell you how many rods we've given away from winning, from guys on our boat winning. I've had guys on my boat get big fish of the week, won $500. We've won reels, Carolina Lake Weights, rod holders. I mean, who else does that? Ain't nobody else doing that.
Chris, I can tell you, man, we give away to the third place winner every week here at Carolina Lake Weights. We send them through that Mad Cats deal, and we have given away so many packs of drifting weights, man. And you stop and think, wow, like I believe Matt put up the other day, I forgot the exact number he put up. I think it was 50-some thousand dollars or something.
That's crazy.
How much money has it's a heck of a thing, man, that they are doing, and I know we're happy to be a part of it, and we enjoy giving away.
Y'all won some stuff off of there. Ben and
Yep.
Tips has won some stuff.
Yeah.
Evan screwed up his weight, or he'd have won some money. But hey, Evan, don't feel bad, man. I tell guys I've screwed up the competition more than anyone, and I'm on the team. I've screwed that thing up so many times I can't even tell you how much money I've lost, how many rods I should have. I should have. My son, I screwed up his state junior state record. I mean, the state took the weight, but I screwed it up on the Mad Catch deal. They would accept it, but I didn't. Some people get mad. I didn't get upset. I just thought, man, I'm an idiot. I fucked it up. You gotta have rules, otherwise, I mean.
Alex, I think I have every action they have. I have heavy. I have heavy, medium action. I have them all.
I got them all, Alex. I would say this: as far as rods go, the action is one step up from all other rods. So if you're used to running a medium heavy, get a medium.
Yeah.
If you're used to running a medium, get a medium light. Because the rods are stiff. They're made so that you can cast heavy weights in the river with big baits. So they're rated for that.
Chris, we come out not too long ago with the brand new river weights. I throw a 10 ounce with no problem.
Can't tell you how many videos I made and didn't say the code. You know what I did 2 weeks in a row. I forgot to video the release. Man, got everything right. Forgot to video the release. So it's got to be, the fish has to be released back live into the water it was caught in. So that's a good thing. Big fish CPR is important. Mad Catch is not afraid to stand up for big fish. Carolina Lake Weight's not afraid to say we are a freaking CPR of big fish brand. I think more brands need to do that.
Yeah, we definitely preach that. That's for sure.
Evan said I lost out on $500 over a 62. Forgot to enter. I've done the same thing. Got busy at work. Friday rolled around. Had kids sports. Saturday, I'm like getting ready to go fishing. I'm like, I look on Facebook and it said scales are closed. This was the night before post. I'm like, oops, oops, because I don't like to enter them right at the beginning of the week. Like if I catch it on Sunday, I don't want to just go enter it. I generally like to wait because if there's a bunch of fish that have beat mine, it's like, what's the point? So I hold off. But sometimes, you get busy, you forget. It's an expensive mess up. Yep, Evan, I said the same thing. I'm an idiot. I was like, can't blame anybody but yourself.
Man.
Yep, Evan, make sure the rules are correct before you enter.
Yep.
I can't tell. And hey, just because somebody entered, watch their stuff because there's a good chance they screwed it up. When you catch a big fish, and if you're not used to catching them all the time, it's hard to do all of that stuff to get the weight legitimate, right? Especially if you're fishing by yourself, it's hard to. How do you even video it all?
Just when you read the rules, go back over, read them one more time. And before you do the video, have the rules right there.
Yeah, it's good to weigh them a few times too. Because I've had them where I weighed it all, And I'm like, all right, that's a great one. Like Jackson's his first junior lake record. I'm like, okay, we should have won that week.
Yep.
Well, I get home. I didn't watch the video after I videoed it all. You couldn't read that damn whisker seeker scale. It didn't show up in the camera. There was some type of film on the screen. It's like, it just looked gray. I'm like,
Oh,
well,
man.
I guess we screwed that one up.
David, thank you so much for that, David. We appreciate you, buddy. We really do, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, man.
Well, I tell you, Chris, man, where's the time going, brother? 1 year anniversary show it's a blast. Holy cow.
Man, we've had some fun this year. We're going to have some fun this next year. We're going to keep the guests flowing. We're going to get some more good, I like having the repeat guys on here too. And I like having guys that are regulars, and we're going to continue to try to do that as well.
And one thing, Chris, is, I would love to do is what we call get some guys together and have a table conversation with 2 or 3 anglers. And heck, who knows? We might try to get out one night and might try to do some catfishing one night while we are doing the show.
Yeah, I'm game for that. Our spawn's over usually around July 4th. And that's when I start night fishing more, dragging for blue cats. So let's do it, man. July.
Right. Yeah, do something different. And that's another cool idea. So, guys, definitely shoot us some of your stuff that you would love to see. Message myself, message Chris, get with us.
Yeah, if you've caught a big fish or somebody on your boat's got a new PB, make sure you go over to Carolina Lake Weights Facebook group and enter them. Just make a post. It's not really enter them, but just make a post talking about the PB and the.
Yeah.
We'll get you one of these, Catfish Club stickers for the slime show. Have y'all come up,
talk about it. Tell us how you called them and everything. And guys, feel free, like Chris said, share. Definitely take your kids out fishing, get them out on the water, go over. Definitely share some of the pictures on our Facebook group page and show them off, man. Let us also.
I like seeing it, man.
Yeah,
I like seeing it.
And also, man, if you're using the Carolina Lake Weight stuff, definitely please go in and tag us, show it off, and
we're always looking for new guys to join the team. We don't really need guys to join the team, but I still like to add new guys, people that are wanting to be part of what we're doing, that are out wanting to share their fishing journey, that are catching fish. You catch good fish, catch regular fish, just share your journey. A lot of you guys are just part of the Carolina Lake Weights family, but our team's always growing.
Chris, I can say for everyone that don't know, we bought a young lady on our youth angler program.
Yeah, we got Audrina the cat girl, Audrina Garza. That's another one of our teammates' daughters, Ricky Garza. He's a guide down in South Texas at Lake Falcon. Really awesome teammate. His daughter's super cute little catfish girl.
Yeah,
she's Jackson's age. She's 8. She ties her own rigs. She catches her own fish. Yeah, cast net. It's cool, man. I like seeing it.
That's it. So congratulations to them, and we're happy to have them on the Carolina Lake Weights team, our youth angler program. It's that's what it's there for, is to shine a spotlight on them.
Yep, I've been watching Juan's, what he's got going on. He's got some awesome little kiddos that are catching fish. And really, Juan, I should have had them both be his kid of the week this past week, but I got busy with life didn't have time to do a whole lot of social media stuff. So my son has started summer track. Oh my God. 3 nights a week for practice. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. The show's on Wednesday. Friday, I'm tying rigs and trying to make my wife happy for Saturday. It's trying to figure out what sporting event or if I can go fishing. So
That's it. And also before we go, Chris, I wanted to let everybody know if you guys go over to Carolina Lake Weights on YouTube.
holy
Definitely
crap! His veteran buddy caught a new PB at 68 Monday.
nice.
Texoma, damn man! I used to love fishing there when I was a young man. Fished there a ton in my 20s before before it got taken over by foreigners.
Mm. But congratulations on that too, man. Heck yeah.
That's
yeah,
awesome,
guys,
man.
check out.
Great fish.
Yep, check out Carolina Lake Weights on YouTube. We have a lot of videos over there, and definitely go to El Gato Lazul TV on YouTube. Definitely subscribe and check us out. Also, Carolina Lake Weights on TikTok. We do a lot of lives over there, also, and showing off a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, if you guys go over, if you're not subscribed to Carolina Lake Weights, make sure you go over there and give them a subscribe or follow. El Gato Azul TV, we're moving in on 2K. It's been a slow, long process, but it's been a steady uptick. Appreciate everybody who's followed along with us and is part of the Slime family. We're just going to keep doing what we do because it's fun. That's the main reason we're doing it. We enjoy it. I like being friends with awesome anglers like you guys. So that's the biggest reward. I also like helping people. Catfishing can be painful. I think being able to help people figure them out is pretty rewarding.
Yep.
I like helping Carolina Lake Weights. This gives Carolina Lake Weights and all of our teammates a podium to talk with our guys, to help promote people that are friendly to us. So it's worked out really good.
And myself and Rebecca also, we want to say thank you so much to everybody for all the support, guys. We're now going in our 4th year in business, man. It's been a wild ride. It's been a heck of a journey, and we've done nothing but grow into where we are now, and we do appreciate y'all guys.
Yeah, it's been fun, guys. We're just going to keep trying to get better. We're going to keep doing what we've been doing, but we'll try to take it to the next level. This is a fishing show. It's not really. We do have a lot of fun. We have a lot of laughs every week, but we try to keep it about the fish. And I'm happy. I think we've done that. I'm proud of what we've done. I'm proud to call all you guys my friends and family. Love seeing you guys every week. So any of y'all need anything from me, you know how to get a hold of me. I'm always available. If you want to come fishing with me, just hit me up. We'll go get a place figured out somewhere, and we'll try to make it happen. Jamie, anything else you want to say before we get out of here, bro?
Hey, brother, I just want to say we got a lot of cool, excellent things happening. I want to say congratulations. 1 year, brother. And we're
yeah, buddy.
1 year, man. Hard to believe it's gone by that fast. Been a hell of a ride, and it's going to continue. It's going to be another hell of a year.
It is. I'm hoping to see all you guys bust a new PB this year. It's going to be a great year of fishing for everybody. So try to get out there. If you haven't, if you fish a lot, try to take somebody who doesn't get to go. Try to let them experience the joy of what we get to do as trophy catfishermen. Try to make a difference, push away the negativity and all this crap that's going on. Try to do something positive. I think that's the best way to be. All our guys are very positive type vibes dudes. So proud to be friends with you guys. Proud of what we've built with the show. Jamie, it's awesome being teamed up with you, buddy.
You too, brother. You too, man. Wouldn't have no other way, man.
Guys, tight lines. God bless. Azul out.
Later, y'all.